Okay, something a little different. And I mean, the thing is, the way that Lilgun like to do this, I think the last time they played this, they also had a Timbersaw, which is going to be good against an IO for sure, especially if it's a core IO, just to be able to burst him down. They're lacking a little bit of control right now. I mean, you get the Soulbind onto a Pango, and he can't really freely roll around in a team fight. So Snapfire becomes really good because you have no instant way to get it onto the backline as long as the Pango's locked down. And Lycan, he's going to be getting aggressive. Most likely see something like a Timbersaw or a Bloodseeker getting very aggressive. Again, heroes that want to be on the front lines, being aggressive, is what a Snapfire loves. And so I really want to see how Kishka's able to make this work. I have not seen in a game, whether it be pro game or pub, the new Bloodseeker Aghanims. And I want to see it made to work because I really like it.
Hold on. What's the new ads? I can't remember.
It's like a blood rot, basically. So you are constantly like losing your HP. I think it's 5% of your max HP per second, but you're also dealing a little bit of extra damage to the enemies and slowing them by a little bit, and then the amount that you heal back from thirst is increased by 50%.
Whoa.
So yeah, it just enables you to consistently chase down people, and maybe it's something that has to be paired together with an Aghanim Shard, because otherwise you're just losing too much HP, but I don't know, I feel like it's pretty damn strong.
Yeah. Speaking of strong, though, this is something you talked about last game, Danog. You said Night Stalker 15-minute shards against these Helm of the Overlord timings could be pretty broken. And I think Polaris Esports, they may have been listening to you, Danog, because they've picked it up now. I think this is a good pick, right? Like, against the Lycan, silence is always nice, but more importantly, you just eat the creep.
Yep. And just think about when Helm of the Overlord timings normally come, right? It's normally within that 15 to 20 minute mark. And that's nighttime. And that's the prerequisite that Night Stalker needs to be able to use the Hunter in the Night on ancient creeps. So, yeah, I feel like it's a perfect little change to make Night Stalker a solid counter to this Lycan. You still are concerned about the early-ish game and how it's going to go in the laning stage for the Night Stalker, because, again, Grimstroke, Lycan, such a huge amount of kill threat. But, yeah, once you get to that point, you at least... there is some counter there.
Okay. It does mean, though, I believe it means that Lelouch is going to be taking the mid Pango here instead, and we did see him run that yesterday.
And this also does mean that this is more likely to be an IO core.
Yeah. Let's hold our horses for a second. Let's not presume things right now. It does look likely, but hopefully not. Because if it is, right, like if it's IO core with this kind of draft, I'm kind of sitting here wondering where the damage is coming from, right? Like you've got control, sure, but it's like where's your damage going to come from in these team fights? And I don't know. I feel like you've got to go another carry. You can't run IO carry again.
Is it Storm? Are they just going to Storm this?
Storm?
Yeah, I mean, Storm IO, it's always going to be very good, right? And have you seen some of the cheese builds that Storms are going? Like,
oh, yes, I have.
5 Null Talismans and an Arcane Blink. Oh, no, they ban it. So they're predicting that this might be the avenue that they're going for on Lilgun. The Lina isn't banned just yet. Not a horrible Lina game when you just want to be able to stand there and fight. Tethered together with an IO just to buff up that attack speed even further.
Let's see if they go for it. I mean, Lilgun, they're going to have the first pick and 15 seconds reserve time left after this initial time runs out. See what they end up with. It does seem like they're lacking someone in that mid lane right now. Unless we see something like a mid snap, but that's highly unlikely here for Lilgun. So somebody else. And they'll go for a Void Spirit, of all things, which is something I haven't been seeing very often at all.
I feel like they changed something about Void Spirit, but it wasn't anything super major. They reduced the bonus damage from his shard, and they slightly increased the distance that his Astral Step goes. So yeah, not too much. I think maybe one of the bigger things that are making Void Spirit a little bit more popular in recent times is the fact that Ember Spirit has fallen off in a big way, just because of the changes they made to Flame Guard in particular. Also the cast point. But we're seeing a Naga Siren come out here, so no core IO. Celebrations. And it's a mid-Pango actually coming out here.
Yeah. So Lelouch Pango is here again. Natsumi. I mean, we've seen Natsumi Naga before, and It does do well against the Lycan Void Spirit, right? Because the ensnare is just such a long duration, and you just lock them down. But my issue is, if Polaris Esports, if they can't halt the initial onslaught that is going to be once this Lycan has this Helm of the Overlord timing, it could be a little bit problematic for Natsumi to be able to find the farm he's looking for on this Naga Siren. But then again, I go back to the point you made earlier, that you do have a Night Stalker who can buy the 15-minute shards and just eat the creep. So maybe the timing just isn't going to be there for this Lycan.
Yeah, I think oftentimes you pick a Night Stalker against something like a Grimstroke who wants to go these really aggressive items. You know, we'll see him go Aether Lens into an Aghanim Scepter, for example, on the Grim. But I feel like Night Stalker, even though the Grimstroke is like, you know, this juicy target on the backlines that you want to be going for, you need to make sure you've got that gold available, not to build towards a BKB, but to have for that Aghanim Shard immediately once it is available to yourself, just because it's going to be so effective at stopping this Lycan push. So once you've got that, that's going to enable you to then get to the next stage, which is going to allow you to kill the Grimstroke. So I feel like you just got to take it one step at a time if you're Polaris.
Okay, well, we'll get into it. Game number 2 here between Polaris and Lilgun. Very intrigued to see how this one goes here. Lilgun, of course, they'd love a 2-0 victory here over at Polaris Esports if they can. And Polaris Esports obviously looking for that draw in game number 2. I mean, they definitely don't need the points. I mean, I haven't looked at the standings recently either, but I imagine Polaris are up there right now in terms of group standings for the BTS Pro Series Season 10. But, you know, you want to win still, so I'm sure they're out there to win. So they are going to head down towards the bottom side. Yeah.
I'm going to do Chad a favor. I'm going to look. So they are 10-3 so far in second place. So I think they're sitting pretty right now.
Yeah. No real threat for them to be knocked out or not make it through to the upper bracket. I suppose they could still get knocked out of being in an upper bracket slot, but, you know, chances are they won't. Probably just need a couple more wins to just secure that altogether.
30 seconds.
Well, they've only got this series and then the last series of the entire group stage against Orca remaining. So, you know, I feel like they're sitting reasonably well. I think this might be Lilgun's last series, actually, of the entire group stage too, and they're sitting in first place.
There you go. Both teams is kind of sitting in that number 1, number 2 spot, trying to take it off each other. No fight to break out.
Deny this Observer Ward. Mavis was there. He scouted out the fact that it was warded up. Might even look to go for it here. And what?
Okay, bit of harassment on Natsumi. Be fine, as it's going to be a deny in the mid Observer Ward as well. Mavis unable to get the deny off and actually gives the tip over to 423, who does deny it away from him. And while we're here, yes?
I just look at Ogre's items. Love it. 5 mangoes. That's exactly what you want to be doing. Just constantly spam that crap out in lane. I was reading on Reddit a little earlier, actually. Someone complaining about the change to Naga Siren with the Riptide in particular, because previously it was just a percentage chance that the illusions as well as the real Naga would be spinning around and doing all of that damage, but now it needs to be 5 hits onto a single target, so it's not like you can just put the illusions into a camp when you're microing them and like A-click on the ground. You actually all need to hit the same target, which can be a little bit awkward with like pathing, and it's just one extra thing to be microing, which is it's just a quality of life thing that Nagas don't like. So let's see how good Natsumi is with it.
Yeah, does sound kind of annoying to have to deal with. Natsumi, I'm sure, will be able to find a way to work through it. We may as well start with the top lane, where he is up against 11 here on the Bloodseeker and Kishka. Mavis, I mean, with those 5 mangoes, he has some ridiculous regen going. I mean, 8.5 without a tango, and now he does have the extra regen available on that Ogre. Do you think this top lane's favorable for any side, or just pretty standard kind of even trading lane?
It depends, right? Like, if they're able to land stuns, then of course it's going to be favored for Lilgun, as we're seeing here. I mean, they're chasing an Ogre. Both him and Naga Siren have a crazy amount of armor. 7 on the Ogre, 8 on the Naga Siren. Like you mentioned before, so much regen coming through just passively from the Ogre just base, as well as all the extra bonus that he's got from the enchanted characters. So it's going to take a little bit for them to be able to take out anyone.
Kishka And even again, Cookie is going to land Mavis. He was unable to juke that out, and it looks like we might have first blood as 11 is able to take it on the Bloodseeker. Nice pick up there for Lilgun, and I suppose they could just keep that up. It didn't seem too rough for him.
Yeah, I mean, Bloodseeker is one of the best laners in the game just because of how you almost never have a horrible lane because you're able to secure your farm and levels with the Blood Right. And then if you're pairing it together with a strong support like the Snapfire, then it just makes it a little bit more difficult for you to, you know, contest it as this support. You're oftentimes going to get bullied out of the lane entirely.
I'm looking over at mid lane. You've got Lelouch and Sank. Are we going again, are we?
They were for a second. But we have Sanctity, Lelouch. How do you think this Pango is going to go? Because, I mean, it's still against a Bloodseeker, right? So you're going to be taking out a lot of these fights. The way I always saw this was, if you're playing against a Bloodseeker and a Grimstroke, you need to be doing something outside of your Rolling Thunder. So at least as a core, you can, like, you know, swashbuckle, do damage through Maelstrom in team fights. So maybe that's the mentality that Polaris are going.
It's interesting you mentioned that as well, because yesterday when Lelouch did play mid-Pango, I believe he actually went for the Diffusal Blade build-up rather than Maelstrom, so okay. I'm not sure if that's what he'll do again, but I think because of the changes to Diffusal and how cheap it is now, he may prefer that over bothering with the Maelstrom.
Don't hate it. I think it's you know, a very cheap item. Of course, you get really good value out of it as a Pango just because it's flat damage. It's not like percentage-based mana burn, so fact that you're able to get it earlier on, people have less int, they have less stat items, they're going to have less mana. So very easy to make someone and win a team fight in that way. Not really caring all that much about a Lycan though, but Bloodseeker, Void Spirit, two heroes that do rely somewhat on consistently casting their spells in team fights.
Yeah. I mean, mind you, that game he was against the Spirit Breaker, and so he was diffusing in mid-charge, so he just wasn't moving most of the time, and maybe that was why he built it up that way, but we'll see. I mean, I still think there is certainly value here against the heroes of Lilgun. Still, final lane, of course, bot lane is going to be Xavius and Force against 4-2-3 and Ace 12. So far, we haven't really seen so much of the Inkswell on a Wolf yet, so they haven't really been able to make that happen as of yet, so it does seem like Force and Xavius are just perfectly fine to trade farm here. In fact, they are actually somewhat slightly ahead of this Lycan so far, so it feels like this is probably going to be the even trading lane, if anything.
Yeah, Xavius has been doing a good job getting a few of these practices. Well, speaking of that, they go for it, but nice use of the tether there underneath the tower. But still, I mean, the fact that these towers have moved a little bit, I'm going to go look at the patch notes, see how much the exact movement was. I want to say it was like 300 units?
Something like that, 300-400, and I remember John and I both said we didn't even notice the difference. It's just like, you don't even feel it.
I noticed the Dire one. I don't notice the Radiant one at all.
Bot lane, Xavius going to be chased down, but they've got Lelouch moving his way in as they are going to lose the IO, but they might find the Lycan and Grimstroke in response. And there goes 4-2-3. Ace 12 still trying to run his way out of there, but Force is on the chase and should eventually be able to secure this kill, and does. A very nice rotation here from Lilgun, or rather Polaris Esports. Lilgun losing 3 across the map. They might even lose more, but Natsumi top lane, he's the one in trouble. Sanctity's rotated now and does kill off the Naga into the Ogre. Pick himself up a double kill on this Void Spirit. And so never mind, it's a very even kind of affair across the map between these two.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Sanctity, he always seems to put in an incredibly solid performance in that mid lane. I mean, he is... I want to see him be on it like a... Not be on a tier 1 team, but have more opportunities against other tier 1 mids, so that he's able to really show his wares. I was getting really excited for the Dota 2 Champions League when they were there was the potential for Lilgun to be part of that against a bunch of European teams, but they ended up having to pull out. So they're still going to be here in the Southeast Asian region, and they're doing a great job.
But they are. 4-2-3 going to drop again. So he just TP'd back towards that bot lane, but immediately goes down. And they are really trying to make sure this Lycan does not get the timing he's looking for. And this is really detrimental, right? Because again, you are looking for that Night Stalker shards at the 15-minute mark. If you can delay the Helm of the Overlord timing till then, you're not going to get any value out of it.
I mean, just have a look at what 423's got queued up. It doesn't look like he's even considering the Overlord since the Night Stalker was picked up. It's just the Helm of the Dominator. Well, you want to buy the shard, I guess.
So, Force, Sanctity in trouble. He does have the step, but they have the Rolling Thunder to chase him down. He doesn't have anything to juke right now either, so he's going to cop the stun. Still trying to run. Will dissimulate the other way towards the north, but he is still in massive danger as Sanctity is eventually going to fall. So far, Lilgun having a very rough time in this game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair though, they haven't really had one of these team fights where Pango is completely shut down by the Bloodseeker or the Grimstroke, right? And 11, he's doing a good job farming on this top side of the map, so he might be the secret carry this game, just able to influence once he picks up that Maelstrom, of course. His net worth is going to skyrocket. He's doing a pretty good job, even keeping the Siege Creep alive for all this time, so he can start to push into the tier 2 tower shortly.
So much damage out from Sanctity right now. As well, speaking of 11, Natsumi's going to run into him, but mid lane is where the action's breaking out. Sanctity going to actually be salved up
not
here.
again, 4-2-3.
Oh, 4-2-3. Yeah, he's gone. Force and Xavius able to take him down, and boy, this is really rough of a Lycan game start. He's only level 4 right now. Force sitting at level 6. And this is just an absolute shutdown of Lilgun's draft, at least for now, as they're going to try and chase down Force, but he's just going to run away, and now with the Rolling Thunder, they'll turn right back around, taking out Ace 12. Now, they might even be able to find Sanctity. If they do land the stun, he will dissimulate, try to run, but he's in trouble. He has no step charges available. They'll cookie him out, but he's still going to drop. Oh boy, a 2k net worth advantage is now 11 is going to move in with the Rupture and the Blood Right, but they have the relocate. They'll get him out. And so far, Lilgun are unable to find any form of a trade as they might just relocate all of them back in. 11, he kept going, but now the body blocks are there from Mavis. They have the Bloodseeker just trapped up and eventually should be able to take him down. As now the turnaround here from Kishka with the Ink Swab, but it's not going to be enough. It just doesn't land. What an absolute mess in the mid lane.
He's got a Mask of Madness on Force. This Night Stalker paired together with an IO, just being a menace for the backlines, for the Lycan in particular. I mean, I talked about it, right? It's so much easier to deal with a Lycan. You don't have as much sustainability. You don't have that terrain movement. You end up eventually killing the Pango. That's a pretty big one.
Nice Ink Swell though. Mortimer's is expended. Yeah, he is doing it on himself, but he has been stunned up and won't be able to continue as they do get Mavis. The 2 for the price of nothing here for Lilgun. Finally finding a bit of revenge in this mid lane. This is around that time where you want to try and take advantage as much as you can as Lilgun. We'll even find an arcane room for Sanctity, and that's going to be very nice timing considering it is daytime now for Polaris Esports.
Mike, are you seeing this Fire Loogie just hanging in the air in the mid lane?
Yes. Oh, yes I am. Look at that.
Just waiting. I was about to say, imagine if it, like, when the creeps collided into it and exploded or something.
That would have been sick, but it looks like it's just stuck there. Amazing. I guess at least there's a map change, Danog. That's good news.
Yeah, oh, that's true. I was hoping for something. Ice Frog, not holding out on us.
Oh, goodness me. I mean, the way Lilgun's draft's going right now, Danog, like 4-2-3's hit level 6 finally, but it does feel like they've been completely shut down already. And look at this, a smoke rotation out. They saw the Lycan. And they've got him, I think. I don't see how he gets out of this. Wolfform has been popped. Fire Blast will be there. Natsumi doesn't even have the ensnare up, but he does have the song if he needs to throw it out, and he will. Relocate to come in just in case they need the backup. And they'll completely surround the Lycan, and that'll be another kill onto 4-2-3.
That's just bullying with the relocate coming through. Felt a little bit unnecessary, but even able to get the last hit onto the Helm Dom creep there before the relocate takes Force and Xavius back out. Yeah, they're in a Rupture here on the top side, but Lelouch, that's the counter to the Bloodseeker, just TP away.
Very easy.
Still 11, he's going for the Maelstrom and then going into the BKB. I guess that's the way he needs to go. I mean, eventually you're going to build into a Gleipnir again. It's going to be great for any kind of match, hero that loves to consistently be casting spells. Bloodseeker is one of them. But even just to stop those TPs away, that'd be very effective.
Well, Lilgun, I mean, in the meantime, they're trying to push this mid-tier 2 tower down, or rather mid-tier 1, and just try to force Polaris back to defend. By the way, update, Lelouch is indeed going for that Diffusal Blade build-up, so, you know, regardless of whether there was a Spirit Breaker or not, it does seem like he wants to go down this item route. That's fair. He's already having a great game, and I do feel like with that itemization, he's going to have an even better game.
Absolutely. And I feel like it's, again, you don't want to be reduced to a Rolling Thunder bot if you're playing as a core. You need to make sure that you're able to contribute to team fights in other ways, because you are almost always going to be the target of the Bloodseeker Rupture. Can't even buy the Aghanim Scepter anymore on the Bloodseeker to have multiple charges of it, right? You've just got the one and done, so you kind of want to try and bait out them to be aggressive onto you. Who have they found here?
A lot. Polaris, they're going to move in onto Lilgun, and they are kind of sitting ducks right now as the relocate is there onto the cliff, though. Xavius being a little bit cheeky, but I suppose it won't really matter anyway, as both of them can get themselves off. Force having a look around for a bit more, but is unable to get in range to cancel the TP that was going on. That he may try to move in on Sanctity, but he doesn't have the Crippling Fear right now. So probably can't really lock down the Void Spirit. So both supports dropping for Lilgun, and again, they are really struggling to find their footing here in this game number 2.
We'll try and get a kill onto Mavis at least. Yeah, it's a lot committed just for an Ogre. At least 4-2-3 is able to get the kill bounty as a result of it. Might even consider going into that mid tower, considering you don't have the Dark Ascension on the Night Stalker. Still a minute or so until the nighttime.
We are going to have a quick pause out here from Polaris Esports, as maybe a bit of lag, and Mavis is going to reconnect. Well, they do get the mid-tier 1. And like you said, Helm of the Overlord's not even being built up right now on 4-2-3, so not going to give that extra value over to Polaris Esports. Just, you know, quick thinking here to make sure he doesn't give that extra gold and experience and everything else. Just lock themselves into something.
Let's just say G while he's still DC'd from the game, his teammate.
XD. There we go. There's Mavis.
So Force actually bought the Blink Dagger, but then he sold it again. So
yeah,
like what can he potentially be looking to go for here? Just a BKB perhaps to try and, like, again, you get the, there you go, he just buys it. You get this Blink Dagger. It just makes life so hard for both the Grimstroke and the Snapfire. As soon as you see your Mortimer's Kisses, you just turn on the Crippling Fear, blink forward, stop it entirely.
Natsumi, big song out, locking down 3, and this is not looking to work in the favor of Lilgun as they have grouped up. Soulbind is there into a double silence, and the Mortimer's Kisses are going to be expended. They've actually got the IO completely surrounded. They'll take him down. Kishka, though, is going to be locked down, and Ace 12 does also drop as 4-2-3. He'll be fire blasted up here by Mavis, and he is a sitting duck. They've got that Rolling Thunder. Sanctity, he's going to try and help out the best he can. In fact, Rupture now from 11 onto Lelouch into the cookie, canceling the TP off. And it turns out Lilgun do take a successful team fight for themselves, as it's Polaris who go too far.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Lycan, though, it's just another death that he's going to need to ring up there. He is so poor right now, sitting at the bottom of all of the cores. He can afford to go for the Hyperstone right now, and I feel like he does need to play a little bit more greedy. You know, play under vision, play away from the rest of the team as much as possible, so that, you know, even if you are the target of a 5-man gank, like we've seen a couple of times right now, at least the Bloodseeker is going to be farming. Because it feels like 11 is doing so much work in these team fights, even though his net worth isn't anywhere near the top.
Bot lane Force going to jump in onto the Snapfire, and oh, they actually don't finish him. They don't have the damage right now, so they'll leave him be.
I want to ask what you think about these, what are they, the Boots of Bearing is what it's called.
I really like
them. I remember that. I like them too, but I feel like it's an item that you go when you're like, oh, never mind, team fight happening.
Yeah, Sanctity in trouble. Rolling Thunder is there, but Cookie is going to get into the high ground. It just won't matter. They do finally rupture up Lelouch. They might be able to try and turn now. Maybe pick up that Pango, but no, never mind. Here comes Force on the Night Stalker. Looking to turn around even more as Natsumi, even joining the fray, has found the Bloodseeker. They get the Snapfire and they've got 11 down. In fact, Ace 12 is still trying to run, but oh, never mind. Relocate out. Xavius, he's had enough. He wants this Night Stalker out of there. Still a great team fight though for Polaris Esports, and will they be able to claim that mid-tier 1 tower now out of this?
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
In the mid tower, 423 was able to get more than half damage done onto the top tier 2, so at least he's being that rat style of hero. Oh, actually has to be a little careful though. You've got the Night Stalker coming through and just going to be able to dodge him out here. I feel like the Boots of Bearing is an item that you need to go when, like, he's going to get it as his first item, essentially. And I feel like that's not the way to do it. I feel like you do it when you're slot starved. And, you know, you need to make sure that you're holding on to some value items like, I don't know, a raindrops or a bunch of wards and stuff like that. But not this early. I don't feel like you're going to get the same amount of value out of it.
Certainly not. A scan out.
I just heard Hunter in the Night as well. So, Force, he's picked up the Aghanim Shard.
Beautiful. They have found Mavis on the Ogre, but Song is there. That'll protect us. Rolling Thunder does catch out Sanctity, and it's perfect timing in the choke point. Not a good trade at all for Lilgun as the chase continues here from Lelouch into Ace 12. They'll get another. Still, buyback is committed. Ace 12 going to rejoin this team fight. Lelouch, though, he's going to TP out. Oh, they barely got him. That was scary even for us, Danog. Just seeing that TP almost being completed.
Seeing the cookie fly over his head.
Oh boy. Still a 2 for 2 in the end, and I don't know if who it's really more worth for, but I'd say with the buyback being committed from Lilgun, maybe Polaris is still pretty happy with this as they go for more. Mid lane, they found 11.
Yeah, you're always going to be able to go for more while it's still this nighttime. Still a few seconds left. 2 minutes rather left. Oh, the Pupil's gift gets knocked onto the ground there. Luckily, they could see it now with the change to the nighttime, and unfortunately aren't aware that this was dropped on the deck. There we go, picks it up.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Go for any kind of backstab here. I mean, you got the Lycan Wolf inside the Roche pit. Seem like they're quite so keen yet.
Not quite.
Radiant's
Force. I
middle
mean, he's
tower
very
is
confident
under
right
attack.
now, especially with the Dark Ascension up. There it is. He's popped it straight away. They saw the Void Spirit. Ghost Scepter will buy a bit of time, but not quite enough, I don't think. Sanctity. No, he'll get the Assimilate off. Onto the high ground and try to Astral Step his way out. He is still burning though, but he does survive as now Lelouch will go on to 11 with that Rolling Thunder. They've got the Bloodseeker locked down for good. So they miss out on the Void Spirit, but they still found the off-lane BS. And they might even go for more now as 4-2-3. Mid TP does get caught by Force. It is going to drop. In fact, make that a third. Kishka, he'll be the third one to go down for Lilgun. Polaris, they have completely taken over this game too. 9k net worth advantage, and this whole time Natsumi's been free farming with this Naga. He's had no contest.
Yeah, it turns out he doesn't really care too much about that micro issue that I was talking about before. Sanctity, I was about to say, was able to get away from the previous team fight. Might not be so lucky now, just has the one Astral Step charge. Should be enough though.
Ooh. That was a really good blink
Right
by
on the
Force. Yeah. Too late. But Roshan is going down. Natsumi just doing it on his own. Not going to take very long here for Polaris Esports, and well, it should be the Aegis to go the way of the Naga. Once you have this, Force picks off another Ace 12 to go down to the bot lane while this Roshan's happening. And now Aegis is
10-0 and 10, man. Like, Force is a menace. He's constantly just out of the map. Supports cannot survive.
It is scary. Lelouch, meanwhile, just rolling in, and that is a big ball rolling towards the Bloodseeker. They'll rupture. Lelouch, though, is going to be fine as the song has been committed. Are they going to go for the fight? It does seem like they will. 11 gone, 4-2-3. He's going to try and join the fray as they are into that Void Spirit. Force again just controlling Sanctity up, but he is free so far as the tether is there onto the Ogre, but Mavis will finally go down. They will try and chase down 4-2-3 now without the wolf form, and it looks like they've got him. The Sanctity wants something to say about that. They will find Xavius on the IO. It's something. But now the chase is back on for the Void Spirit. Dark Ascension is off cooldown once again, and they've got the Crippling Fear. So you got a couple support kills, but it's just costing you so much. if you are Lilgun. Now Kishka gonna drop Lelouch onto another. That'll be Ace 12 gone, and well, Polaris Esports, they can just go for these tier 2s now, I reckon. Not really much in the way of stopping them.
Man, I'm not meaning to say it as a pun, but this is night and day difference between what we saw in game number 1. It's, I don't know, like Lilgun, they seem so composed. They seem like they had such a clear strategy in game 1, and they're just chain feeding this game.
11 has been caught. And is probably just dead. I mean, you'll rupture, but Lelouch, he does not mind. He'll just EP away, no problem. And that's your tier 2 mid tower gone. And things are only set to get worse than August. Natsumi, he'll get jumped. Can they actually deal with him though? He's got the Aegis up. Force is going to join the fray to boot. They'll go on the Snapfire. And Force, he may have gone too far this time. He has. It's a lot of gold to go back the way of Ace 12 of all people. But now they make the jump in on the Grimstroke instead. They might just find him. Lelouch still chasing him down. They've also found Sanctity on the Void Spirit, so the Void Spirit may just drop as well as the roll-up is there. Lelouch still going. 4-2-3, just going to get taken down by the Pango. As Sanctity just wants out of here. But the Fire Blast is going to land, and it's going to be a double. On to the tier 3s we go for Polaris. Oh, screw the tier 3s, they wanted 11. They won't get him, but it won't matter either. Because the tier 3 is just more important.
Keep that push on forward. Mavis feeling his Jakiro costume right now. Just constantly laying out that damage over time in these team fights. Get a little bit lucky with the multicasts as well for sure, but it just doesn't feel like Lilgun have been able to leave the triangle area for the past, honestly, 10 or so minutes.
Here we go. Natsumi gonna move in. Soulbind gonna lock them down, but not really. Kishka is gone. Is now 4-2-3.
Just TP'd in.
He just TP'd in Danog. Though it looks like they may just leave him alone for now. Polaris, they may have had enough. Can't say the same for Ace 12 though, as he does drop. And no, never mind. They have not had enough. They're going back in. They want more. Who are they going to get though? It looks like they're onto 4-2-3 again. Lelouch being completely healed up. Xavier's just saving the day as they've got 4-2-3 down. And now onto the Bloodseeker. 11 in the middle of absolutely everyone is going to drop as Natsumi wants another. And they just call the GG. They've had enough. And I don't quite blame them. Lilgun, they'll end up this one in the draw. Polaris, they leave the carry IO alone. And they just take over as they did yesterday.
24 minutes, Mike. 24 minutes for that game. It's pretty crazy that they were able to get it done in that amount of time. I feel like the Night Stalker pick was great. It prevented them from going this Helm of the Overlord that was going to give them a lot of the early timings. And I feel like we're going to see that a whole lot more to be able to counter out a lot of this early aggression that a lot of teams, like particularly Lilgun, are going to have. So maybe Polaris got what they wanted out of that game number 1. You know, we were clowning on it a little bit, you know, the POS1 IO not banning either the Brood or the Lycan, but now they know, you know, given the option, they're going to go the Brood every single time. So just ban the Brood, get them to go the Lycan, and then get the easier counter to it. And they were able to do it in really good fashion.
That they were. With that though, Danog, we are going to move on to our second series of the night, and it's going to be OB Neon against Young Gun Galacticos. So, I mean, OB Neon, I think you've probably noticed, John, Danog, have been struggling a little bit. Don't get upset, Danog. It's been years, all right? It's hard for me to get over this habit.
I know. I would get less upset if my mum and dad didn't call me by my brother's name all the time. So there's some like psychological warfare going on at all times with me.
Apologies about the PTSD, Danog. We'll move on to our break, and right after that break, we'll be back with our next series between OB Neon and Young Gun Galacticos.